Alright, it's the time again. FromSoft released a new DLC. After Shadow of the Erdtree, the best DLC of all time and also my favorite video game content personally, FromSoftware definitely had big shoes to fill. Now, the thing is, this is a DLC for probably the most controversial FromSoft game up until to this point. Yes, even more than Dark Souls 2, I'd say. Elden Ring, Nightreign. I personally love Nightreign. I had a lot of fun with the game, played a lot of games, fought a lot of the bosses, played Deep of Night, did a lot of fun stuff, and it was just really cool. Even started doing level 1 runs with my squad. So I am decently enthusiastic about the game. I think it's quite fun. Though I will admit there are definitely some issues with the game in general. I have to admit, after seeing the hype trailer, but then finding out the content is relatively sparse on first look, I was definitely a bit skeptical because of the new DLC. When I found out it's only 2 new characters and 2 new Night Lords, I was like, damn, is this really gonna be worth 15 bucks? And considering there was no new map but just one shifting earth, I was really just thinking that FromSoftware might fumble this time. So, is the Forsaken Hollows worth the 15 bucks? The Forsaken Hollows DLC is a great addition to Nightreign. Despite some of its shortcomings, which I will talk about later, I want to talk about everything Forsaken Hollows has to offer. Obviously, there will be massive spoilers for everything in the DLC, so you have been warned. Before we dive into the video, please be sure to like and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications if you enjoy this channel. It helps out massively and I would greatly appreciate it. However, with this, let's smash the night. First, I want to start with an overall DLC overview. Right off the bat, this is maybe my favorite intro to any FromSoft DLC. Yeah, I know FromSoft DLCs always start in pretty cool and amazing ways, but this one was really awesome. You open a new door in the hub and you get to face the final boss of the expansion, the Draglord. This is just so cool, man. Like, you get a little glimpse of the fight, which not only helps you for when you eventually face him, but it's also just such an awesome moment. And obviously it's a typical FromSoft. The intro boss demolishes you and then you continue the thing. They did it often and it doesn't really get old because they always find a new twist for it. And here, I did pretty well against this boss, but then he basically just one-shot me. It was really funny. My only issue with this is, apparently you don't get any reward if you win against him, which is just weird. Though I get it, because you would be locked out of it permanently, because you can only attempt this once. So it's understandable. After this, you're introduced to the 2 new Nightfarers, the Scholar and the Undertaker. They tell you some wake shit about the Draglord being some new calamity and that we need to stop it. Alright, let's get to it. But before we can do it for some reason, we have to beat the Balancers. A legion of angelic Valkyries that descends every time the world is in dismay and consumed by some calamity. Which, on a side note, I don't even fully understand lore-wise because we probably should ally with the Balancers. So why do we have to kill them? We share a common goal. I don't really understand, but honestly maybe I probably just missed something. After we beat Harmonia, the Draglord appears. Now it's time to smash the Night 1 and Night 2 bosses, which can even be Artorias, which is really awesome. They really did this fight justice. I love it. And after slaying this, we now fight the calamity of the DLC, the Draglord. This is basically the premise of the DLC. And now let's dive into some more detail, starting with the 2 new Nightfarers. The 2 new Nightfarers are pretty great. Let's start with the Undertaker. Undertaker is absolutely awesome. And it's not just for the reasons you think. Okay, it's probably not a shocker, but this character is like really strong. She has great stats with some vigor. Thank God, finally a character that doesn't die in 1 or 2 hits. Her passive is just funny. Every time someone from your team ults, she gets a free ult charge and can ult. If you play as 3 Undertakers, this is just absolutely hilarious. You just keep flying and stunning the boss. It's great. Also, if you perfect dodge a grab attack in this game, you also get a free ult charge. So you really just ult a lot with this game. Which brings me to the abilities. Her base character ability does a few things. It gives you super sprint on normal sprinting with no stamina consumption. It also increases poison defense. Oh yeah, it also gives you a better dodge similar to quick step, and to top it all off, you get a damage boost after you perform a full attack chain. Honestly, with this, I'm surprised it doesn't pay your taxes paralysis or cure any disease. Just what an ability, man. And there's even more to it, which I don't even fully understand, but you can somehow consume your ult charge and get like auto dodge with it. It's just absolutely overtuned as fuck and I love it. No idea what the guy designing this was smoking, but man, I want some of that stuff. Her ult on the other hand is really simple, but it's also the second strongest in the game damage wise, which is great because you spam it a lot. With this ult, you basically lock onto a target, fly up to them and stun them with a high damaging attack. It's extremely awesome that this actually flings you and makes you fly because you can't stun enemies out of the sky. This is some of the most fun stuff in the DLC and I absolutely love it. It's so fun. Not only is the character fun to play, however, she also has some great skins and her remembrance, at least as far as I did it, was pretty great. Okay, enough of this super cheap joke. But yeah, fighting all the Nightfarers in the quests was a really cool and surprising moment, and I'm excited to finish the Remembrance very soon. So yeah, top 3 characters in the game for me. Absolutely love it. Now then, Scholar on the other hand. Oh boy, this guy is complicated. Items become one of the best things in the game and absolutely viable, if not meta. But this is not the only way to deal massive damage with Scholar. His arcane stat is completely off the charts, far surpassing Executor, and that's just insane. Scholar is strong, like really strong. He's a support, but he can also dish out insane damage. His passive is buff to consumables, where the more you use them, the more you level them up and the stronger the effects they get are. It's really fun and a really unique ability. I love it. His ability Analyze on the other hand allows you to analyze enemies by holding down the button and waiting a timer. After you successfully finish this, you can debuff them, buff yourself, or even do some counters with it. It's absolutely cracked and a super good ability that is just support in its purest form. It's very, very good. His ult also links all the enemies hit by it and makes them share damage, which is really strong. Plus, it makes all allies hit by it share heals, which makes communication the absolute key with this character, and that's great because the team play moments are my favorite moments in Nightreign. So Scholar plays perfectly into that. So yeah, both the characters in the DLC do deliver, and I think they're both some of my favorites. I like them both a lot and I think they're a great addition to the game. Personally, the Nightfarers in this game are only my second favorite thing about Nightreign, because my favorite thing about this game are the Night Lords. Let's start with Harmonia in the Balancer's Expedition. This is a very unique boss. You fight this legion of Valkyries that descend down once the world is in a catastrophic state. Phase 1 is really simple. It shows you the base nature of the fight and the movesets of the base Valkyries and gets you accustomed with it. It's important that you learn the lessons here because you will definitely need it for what's to come next. After you cut down the first wave of Balancers, the energy channels in one of them and it gets like a super cool moveset while the others keep supporting you. Communication is once again key, which I really love because it makes Nightreign lean into the team dynamic, which is once again my favorite aspect of the fight. Usually it's your two teammates fight the Valkyries while one of your teammates fights the main one. It's really damn cool and I really like it. The main one gets some really cool combos that are used in a 1v1, but she can quickly retarget a different teammate and she can also do some big attacks that require attention from everyone because they're pretty much arena wide, or at least very far. Oh yeah, the phase transition attack is also just absolutely awesome, especially if you get marked. It's so fun to dodge. Really cool, love it. I think this is an absolutely amazing fight and just a big win for the boss roster once again. Of course, I need to mention some issues, which maybe some of the externals are a bit hard to see for some players on the ground, or maybe because they're a bit off screen, but honestly, if you know how the fight works and pay attention to it, it's decently manageable, I'd say. Still, something I want to mention. The presentation is also just amazing, just like pretty much all the Nightreign bosses. The beautiful pedals in the arena after phase transition are awesome, and the music is up there as one of FromSoft's best. It's a stunning piece. And apparently there is an Everark coming for this boss, which just fills me with hope. I really hope this will be awesome. Well, while in the process of making this video, Salvation Standard Bearer's Weapon Bequeathed Harmonia released. And yes, this boss is not called Everark because it's not a Night Lord. But that's besides the point. Anyway, what do we think about this boss? Well, I can say, in truly classical Nightreign fashion, the presentation is once again just spectacular. The skybox has to be the best in the game, the music is fantastic, and it's just such an incredibly cool boss. This is a really special enhanced edition because unlike Everarks that usually complete the boss bosses, this one is more like an alternative version. So now then, is the alternative version as good as I expected it to be? Honestly, I have to say, not really. I think as a gank, this is kind of a downgrade for me. Instead of having cool tactical combos like in the base fight, you basically have to create space and deal with more of them at once. It's not bad by any means, but it's also not that interesting. My biggest issue for the gank part is that the combos for the buffed unleashed Harmonias or Valkyries attacking you just aren't as good as for the base one. Still not bad by any means. My bigger issue with this fight is the massive slug or worm or whatever this is supposed to be face. Looks very cool, very intimidating, and honestly I like dealing with most of its moves. It's pretty fun. However, I have to say the final part of this where you have to break it in the DPS phase is just very poorly designed. It's designed around stance damage, and the ball sacks that are there and seem like quite obvious weak points are not super useful, which is just weird. This is way too punishing and doesn't feel good to figure out. It's a pretty bad mechanic in my opinion. My other big issue is that the blood procs just do a lot of damage and you get procced by bleed a lot. It's just annoying. That's my main issue. A lot of the things in this fight are annoying. As a fight, for me, this is just decent. It's still not bad, but I'm not the biggest fan. But overall experience, I would still say it's quite cool. It's nice to see most likely influences from the Formless Mother, and now explains why Moog is in the boss pool. So yeah, that's neat. Harmonia is already a great boss. However, honestly, nothing could have prepared me for what the last boss would have in store. Now, as far as the Dreadlord goes, oh my god, From Software did cook hard. Not only is this the best boss in the DLC, but he is also a new entry in my top 10 FromSoft bosses and probably my favorite in Nightreign. Everything here is just on point. People have been pointing out similarities between Gale, and yeah, I can absolutely see it. He fights like a rabbit beast. It's definitely very Gale Phase 1 coded. It's also just a fantastic design. I love designs like the Rotten or the One Reborn, basically grotesque corpse designs, and this one is perhaps their best. It has the right mix of being disgusting but also super badass and delivering a good fight, you know, unlike the One Reborn. At first we approach the guy just lying there and he gets up and starts flailing around like a wild beast. The OST also just sounds primal and just completely wild without any structure. In general, his OST is one of the best pieces of music I've ever heard and definitely one of the best of this year. It's also up there as From Software's best, possibly. It's basically impossible to choose at this point and I don't really care. Ranking music is not that important to me anyway, but it's just incredible. Just fantastic stuff. After this, he starts using massive AoEs and summons rot versions of enemies. And I think they work. You need to mind their positioning, their grabs, and where they are, and need to be aware of them and paying attention to the boss as well. It's ads and the boss done right. I think they succeeded. After this latest phase, you get to the real cinema. The music starts to take a sad turn and he becomes a very rageful beast. He screams and summons massive drag pillars that erupt all around the arena. The music climaxes, there are amazing AoEs, he dashes around. It's basically the perfect Nightreign boss presentation wise. It's absolutely fantastic. Positioning requirements are also neat, which is one of my favorite things in bosses. And man, the final part of the music. It's just so peak. There are bosses that use Nightreign mechanics a bit better, maybe even Harmonia, but I think Dreadlord is definitely my favorite experience overall. He's just absolutely incredible and I love him so much. But now let's talk about the most surprising aspect of the DLC, which is the new Shifting Earth. So what do you think about this new map? It's a bit complicated, but let's start with the stuff that is easy to say. This map is gorgeous. It looks stunning, like straight up. When I first landed into this, I was just completely in awe and looking around, basically like entering Shadow of the Erdtree for the first time and just needing a good look to see what the hell FromSoft created once again. It's fantastic. FromSoft also possibly released the best ambient music. It's so good during the days and especially when the circle starts closing in. Man, it's such a great track. Not to say that the Nightreign tracks weren't already good, so I'm just even more impressed. So, what is the goal in this map? You try to break crystals to get the crystal power, and then you can do either some dungeons where you defeat bosses, or you can do divine towers where you basically get like a mini boss rush. And I think the concept of this is pretty cool. I also kind of like that the map plays a lot with verticality, but there are also some issues I have. And my biggest issue with this map is that this is just not a very good map for Nightreign. It's just a bit too confusing, and learning it is too hard and frustrating to be like super good or viable. Once you learn it, this map isn't weak, but playing on Noclateo seeds, for example, is easier and way stronger. The issue is there are so many places where you can just fall down, and worst of all, you find a dead end and get stuck in the zone while trying to return to the circles. Especially the circle for day 2 after you did the divine towers is just unacceptable. It's awful, and it's like my biggest issue with the map. But on the other hand, I also really love that they gave us a whole new map, new variety, and just new encounters. That's awesome, and I will value that. So my final verdict for now is this map is not well designed for Nightreign. However, I'm very happy it exists, and I really enjoy playing on it for the most part. Some parts are rather frustrating, but yeah, overall I'm super happy they added this new, in quotation mark, shifting earth, and I will definitely be playing it a good bit in the future. I like new content, and this helps. I like the DLC a lot overall. I think they added a lot of new things that are really cool, but I just have a few questions from FromSoft. Straight up. Just a few very simple questions. Come here, FromSoft. Why can't we use the DLC Shifting Earth and the DLC structures outside of the DLC expeditions? Obviously only if you match with people who also have the DLC, but why? I just don't understand. It would be more variety for the map, the thing basically everyone who plays this game is wishing for. So why? Why? This would be such an easy thing to change. Literally just throw the structures into the pool. It makes no sense to me. Stuff like this is just weird. Why can I go on a Noster expedition on a Great Hollow? It just makes no sense to me. It's so weird. So what could be an enhancement for variety just creates a microcosm of the Nightreign problem in the DLC, which is very sad. Also, obviously no new Shadow of the Earth Tree weapons or skills. It's very sad, and apparently they are adding that later, which is great, but I would still like it to be there on release. So yeah, I definitely have some issues with the DLC as a whole, but overall I do think it's a very worthwhile package. I think it's great. It's not amongst the absolute top tiers like Shadow of the Earth Tree or Old Hunters, but I never expected that. Not from Nightreign, not after delivering Shadow of the Earth Tree, which is just unrealistic to fulfill. I would put it around 5th or 6th place in the FromSoft DLC ranking, though I need to mention that FromSoft DLCs are good at worst, and some of the best stuff ever at best. And I think Nightreign's DLC is a solid 8 out of 10 and great. It helps to enhance the game and adds more content, which is always fun. However, I usually just personally prefer the traditional FromSoft games, and the same goes for the DLCs. I'm still super happy that while I was skeptical initially, the DLC still delivered a lot of fun, and it was better than I expected, if I'm being honest. I would recommend this DLC to you if you are a Nightreign fan and want more. If you are not a fan of Nightreign, you won't find anything new that will improve your view on the game as a whole. It's just more of Nightreign. But now you tell me in the comments, what do you think? Do you think it's a scam? I personally think people who say this is like a scam, the review bombing and stuff, it's clownery and just stupid. Yeah, 15 bucks is not nothing, but 15 bucks in 2025 for a pretty solid expansion and decent amount of content is a very fair price. So depending on how much you enjoy the content, I think the price is very fair. If you are a fan of Nightreign, it's definitely worthwhile. If you aren't, then definitely not. It's as simple as that. So now you tell me, did you like the DLC? Do you think it was bad? Do you think it was lacking content? Please let me know in the comments. I think this will probably be one of the last Nightreign videos I make. Well, besides Nightreign obviously appearing a lot in the top 10 bosses of this year's, because as I said, I just really love the boss roster. And with that said, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will see you here for the next video. Until then, bye!